Hi, and welcome. My name is Aaron Wolf, and we're here with my baseball pro, Grant Levinson. Grant, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Well, let's start off with some new moves. What new moves have you seen in baseball, Major League Baseball, in regard to pitching that are really important you see are going to be big impacts in the season?
Well, obviously, the most obvious move that you have to go with is Roy Halladay being picked up by the Philadelphia Phillies. You know, we saw how great Cliff Lee did for them in the playoffs, and they still decided to move him to Seattle in order to make room for Roy, and I think that's the smartest thing they could have done. Roy's been posted up in the AL East, you know, hidden behind the Yankees and the Red Sox, and so these National League teams haven't been able to see how good his stuff is, so I think they're in for a real shock once he finally starts pitching, and I think that's the best move the Phillies could have made.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting up there in the NL. What about batters? What important moves do you see that batters have made?
Well, I think the biggest move, or I guess what's the move that made the biggest splash, is the Yankees letting Johnny Damon go over to the Tigers and then bringing in Curtis Granderson. I think that's a smart move on their part because I personally think that Johnny Damon is getting old. He's starting to weather down a little bit. Curtis Granderson, yeah, he's starting to get up there, but he's still young. He's still in his prime. And now that he's moved into this little, you know, T-ball ballpark, he's going to be able to hit a lot more home runs. He might not put up the average that Johnny Damon had, but he'll be close, and his stolen bases are always right there. And then I think one of the other big moves is that Matt Holliday stayed put with the St. Louis Cardinals. They didn't move him. They were able to re-sign him for a big contract, and that's really going to help him and Albert Pujols.
Yeah, I do like the Cardinals. They've really set up real well in their division. I don't really know why the Tigers made that move. I don't think that was a very smart move.
I don't see how it's going to really help them much, but we're just going to see whatever, you know, how it plays out is how it's going to play out. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, that's good. Let's move on over to some fantasy impacts. What do you see? Give me some just straight out good fantasy picks, and then we'll go to sleepers.
Well, I think some great fantasy picks, or I guess everyone that should know is obviously, you know, the guys like Albert Pujols, Hanley Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez. You know, all those guys are going to do great. But I think someone who's going to have a great fantasy impact, I'm going to go back to Matt Holliday. Once he came in, it really helped him and Albert Pujols out. And I expect to see nothing but better things this year for both of those guys. It's going to help out the Cardinals. It's going to help push them towards the playoffs and maybe even get back to the World Series and win another one. So I think that's going to be great. Now, sleeper-wise, look out for Drew Stubbs in Cincinnati. Center fielder, former Texas Longhorn, got called up at the end of last season, came on hitting on a tear. He blasted 8 home runs in something like 30 games. Now, he did strike out a lot, but that's something that you got to kind of expect from a rookie being called at the last second, you know. So look for Drew to have a great year this year. And I guess someone who I wouldn't draft in my fantasy leagues would be either David Wright or Jason Bay. I know David Wright is one of the premier hitters in the league, and I know that Jason Bay is really working his way up there. But you just can't expect to play well in Citi Field and to hit well in Citi Field, and the dimensions are the biggest I've ever seen. It's almost like you're playing at the Polo Grounds from way back in the day. It's just it's like a never-ending fence. So I think those two guys are two guys to stay away from when it comes to your fantasy drafts.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Now let's move on to some favorites. Who do you have as a favorite in the AL?
It's gonna be a really interesting race, and it's gonna be between the two big teams, the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox made a few moves. You know, they got pitcher John Lackey from the Angels, who I don't necessarily see panning out real well, but if it does, they're going to look like geniuses. Yeah. And then they also picked up Mike Cameron from the Brewers to help out that outfield. So him and Jacoby Ellsbury platooning in center field and left field is going to be one fast outfield. Now the Yankees, they did absolutely nothing but get better. They brought in Javier Vasquez, who was on an awesome year last year for the Atlanta Braves. Excuse me. Now I know that he's already played with the Yankees and he didn't do too well. That's why they traded him. But I expect this year to be a little bit better. He's matured. He's grown. He knows the feel of the game now. And then also, like I said earlier, bringing in Curtis Granderson. I really don't see the Yankees losing, so I have to pick the Yankees.